everyone, and welcome back to the Brothers Take, our podcast where three brothers discuss video games and some of our favorite gaming adventures. I'm Chris, joined by my brothers Adam and Eric.
Hello.
Hey.
And we're back in the room in this bonus segment to give our take on both PlayStation's State of Play and then a tweet that was sent out by Rocksteady Studios. So we're going to talk about State of Play first, give our thoughts on the games that were shown, and also I think the overall presentation, like what we thought about the overall, what they showed us, and any of the games that excited us or that we thought looked good out of the bunch. And then after that we're going to talk about a tweet that was sent out the very next day by Rocksteady. So let's start with State of Play.
Right.
What?
The absolute state of it. The state of play.
2022. Was there... Okay, so for your general thoughts overall first, I suppose. What do people think?
Pretty boring, there wasn't really anything to it, not really a good presentation, and a lot of the games they were showing off weren't really grasping. You know, they weren't exactly going, here's Horizon Zero Dawn, or here's anything. They just kind of, they showed a lot of indie games, which can be fun for people, but a lot of this looked like, this is something I'll probably download and try out when it's free on PlayStation Plus. Nothing. I think there were two games that really grasped me, which was Aeon. Is that it? Aeon Must Die or something like that?
Aeon Must Die. I thought that looked really pretty cool, yeah.
It's like the side-scrolling thing, but there's something about it, like the artistic style, the color tones and everything used for it kind of reminds me of Transformers. I have no idea why, it just kind of did.
It looked like a Saturday morning cartoon.
That too. It actually looked
Didn't
pretty cool.
It looked
and
like
then,
something.
Yeah. And I think this also grasped Adam's attention was the Pathless one, because it kind of looked like that.
Is it called the Pathless one or just the Pathless? I thought it was just the Pathless, is it?
No, it's Pathless. I'm just saying Pathless one.
Sorry. No, because for a second I wasn't sure if I got the title wrong or something, because I did only watch it once.
Because that was kind of like this Legend of Zelda Breath of Wild thing, but then they're going for that whole no markers, which is kind of like Ghost of Tsushima as well, the way you just follow the world and you just explore the world, and it just had a really interesting premise and very fluid gameplay style as well. So those two, and then also actually the Hitman VR thing, because Hitman's awesome.
Oh yeah. What about the Hitman? Wait, hold on now. This is Hitman 3, isn't it? Is that the official title?
Yeah, Hitman 3, and then they're making that one plus the other two VR.
I'm obviously familiar with Hitman, but I haven't followed the series very closely. I thought there was a Hitman 3 years ago. Is this a re-release or is this actually new? What's the story?
Well, Hitman was kind of soft rebooted like Tomb Raider was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, I have you now. So this is the third installment in sort of the reboot franchise of Hitman. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And so this is going to play in both VR and... Or is there just a VR mission?
No, you can play the whole game in VR, it looks like.
So does that mean in the actual game you can play it in first person? Or does it play in first person? Or is that what's...
No, the game play third person like normal. But then this will go into a first person perspective. And as far as I know, it is the trilogy as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is a huge announcement.
They should have given that more attention.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first things they showed or something like that, and then they started showing
the second one they showed.
They showed a little clip. They showed it in first person, and he goes to strangle someone, and it just went Hitman 3 and said available in VR. That should have been there should have been someone talking about that. Do you know with some of them, someone was talking about it and saying all the amazing things they were doing? That should have had way more attention. Not say again, I'm not I don't follow the Hitman series very closely, but I know it's a big series, and that is actually a huge deal if they're doing the entire thing in VR.
I've never really been into Hitman, but that's enough for me to want to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, because they've done that with when they released the second one, you can get the second one, and then you get the entire first one as well with all the DLC and shit. So they're very good with their community when they're releasing everything. Yeah, so every time they release it, seem to release a new installment, they give you the previous one as well, just so then you can. because they play the whole thing like as if it's a TV show. Like each chapter is like an episode almost.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like it's done episodic.
I would definitely be more drawn to it with the VR thing actually. Because
sick.
No, but no. Not the killing people. No, it's that moment where he was in like a lobby and then it went into first person and there's like people going around with the champagne glasses and there's people with suits and there's something kind of suave about it and I was like, oh, this is like the closest thing you might get to like a James Bond simulator.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was like, that's actually pretty cool. Like maybe if you look down, you're going to see your suit and everything, right? That's gonna be sick because I remember like I was not really on board at VR when it was announced. Not that I was against it or anything, but it just seemed like another one of those things where, do you remember like there was like the iToy, or there was the what was the other one? There was it was like a remote thing with a ball on the top of it. It looked
Move,
like
the PlayStation Move.
Move. Yeah, it had an odd design. And like none of them ever caught on. And as far as I was concerned, I was like, the VR is just another thing that's like they're gonna put it out. It's gonna cost a lot to get it. It's gonna be hype in the first month and like they're not going to do anything creative with it. Like they never go anywhere. Stick to the basics. But when I tried that fucking Arkham VR, I was like, okay, of all the things that they've tried to do outside of the typical console experience, this is the coolest. This is worth exploring because, man, I looked down and I had the bat symbol on my chest. Holy fuck. And like looking in a mirror and seeing your own face. And like if you watch someone else do it, you don't get to say it's not the same.
No, yeah, it's really,
you
really boring.
have to get into it. It's a whole different. Like if someone hasn't tried VR, whether it's Oculus or whatever, try a VR experience. It's nuts. It's fucking crazy. I wouldn't recommend doing it for long periods of time though.
No,
short bursts only. But geez, but then that's the thing. If it plays in VR and non-VR, you could just do segments of it in VR.
Yeah.
And then play a lot of the game out of VR as well. Like that's cool.
Yeah, it is a bit odd that they didn't they always do this with VR. They just kind of like, oh yeah, and here's a VR game, but they don't really talk it up. It's almost like as if they're afraid of it. Like VR seems, I'm worried that VR has the same history or the same kind of trajectory as the PS Vita, because the Vita was an incredible handheld, but they kind of just released it and kind of went, let's see how it does on its own, kind of a thing. Without actually marketing it. Now, I think they're doing a much better job with VR, and I think VR will like have a life, especially with PS5. I think it's going to have a good life, but
yeah,
they really are afraid to push it. I don't know why, because it is an incredible experience. But I do think that there are certain games. I'll be interested to see how this plays, because I think there are certain experiences that work better without VR. Yeah. And there's certain experiences that work better with VR. For example, Superhot. I think Superhot works way better as VR than it does without the VR.
Right, yeah.
Games that are a little bit more arcadey. So a Time Crisis game, for example, would be incredible in VR.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh my god, that's the best thing you've just said. They need to
I think that would be better than a non-VR. Whereas games where you're like... so I'll be interested to see how Hitman performs, because I do think those kind of third-person traditional style games tend not to work too great in VR.
Yeah,
consider like the maps are usually really big, and then all the different options, well, you might just get a bit too lost with it or something, or get a bit nauseated as well.
Well, I think the for me anyway, what separates it is that I imagine with Hitman 3 VR, it's going to be, you're going to still have the DualShock in your hand. Right, it's a bit like Resident Evil 7. Yeah. Resident Evil 7 doesn't work with the Move controllers, and I feel a slight disconnect because you're immersed. You can look around, but you can't actually reach out and grab things. You still have this traditional controller.
Yeah.
Did they not show in the trailer though his hands, like kind of looking at his hands and him reaching for like the champagne glass and stuff?
Yeah, it did look like that.
Maybe,
but I suppose
it looked like maybe that was. Yeah, the movement though looked a little too good for
those are the kinds of things. That's why I think someone should have talked like that. That's something that should have been clarified, or someone should have talked through that demo and get people more excited about it.
I mean, like it was like a CGI trailer, I think, so I don't think it was proper.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So maybe they'll release something down the line and be like, here's, and then actually talk about it.
Adam, was there anything at the State of Play that excited you in particular?
I just want to talk about the presentation because when it started off, I thought like, it started off with the orange kind of beam, and then it goes blue, and then it goes white, and it's like, this is like just the polish of that. I thought was really really cool, and the overall presentation. I think this is the best state of play they've ever had.
Okay, see, I don't remember the other ones.
Well, they started doing it, I think maybe 2 years ago. I
Right.
can't really recall, but I just didn't see the point in them. They were like 15 minutes long, and it was kind of like and here's what's coming out, but there was no real kind of game demonstrations. Whereas here we had proper game demonstrations, developers talking on some of them as well.
Yeah.
It was almost like watching E3 without the kind of awkward person in the middle trying to keep the crowd going a bit. So I really, really liked the presentation. In terms of games that are shown, State of Play has always shown these types of games. What would be considered not necessarily AAA. They weren't going to really show anything huge because we've already seen it in the PS5 one.
Yeah.
So I think for what was left, I think like to show like here we have stuff that we didn't get to show, but also stuff that's left for the PS4. To be able to like show what like this console still has a bit of life left in it before we move on.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much, but it's got a bit.
Well, I did think that there was an interesting kind of lean towards the artistic. So whether it's Crash Bandicoot with its kind of Pixar style kind of animation look to it, then they announced the Braid Anniversary Edition, which is also that's very painterly, and the upgrades they did to that to make it look more painterly. The Pathless, again, very artistic. Spelunky, hand drawn again. Genshin, which I thought looked a bit like Breath of the Wild mixed with an anime. I thought, I'm not really sure what the game is, but the artwork was incredible.
It's
and then there was that
JRPG, right?
Yeah.
Aeon Must Die that you mentioned with its kind of Tron-like kind of Samurai Jack animation.
And it's got like some bitchin' heavy metal dance fucking soundtrack, right?
And then there's this other one which is kind of like a cyberpunk 2D kind of, I can't remember the name of it now. Something mutation. Something.
There was a lot of platformers. Most of it was platformers.
Yeah. But I think some of them looked pretty cool. But the one that did stand out to me the most was the Pathless, because I think they did announce that during the PS5 event, I think. But there wasn't much to show on, and then they showed the gameplay. But when it started off, I was like, I'm not really seeing the point in this. I'm not seeing like what's the gameplay loop. And then as it went on and it showed like you be fighting these kind of monsters and stuff, I was like, now I get it. And I would love to play more of that. And it's
I was
made
actually
by Giant Squid.
I was the very same as you.
Yeah.
As soon as that started, I was like, you shoot targets and move, great. Like that sounds wonderful. And then as soon as they said that there was monsters and that there is somewhat of a plot in there, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's much cooler than you said it. Okay, yeah, no, sounds good.
So the shoot targets thing seems to be like that's how you get a boost. You get to move quickly. Yeah. So as you're chasing down these bosses, you have to shoot your targets to kind of catch up with them. But the reason I would have like interest in this is because they are the makers of Abzu, which is the kind of underwater style Journey game.
Oh, right.
And there is a lot in here that looks a little bit like Journey.
No, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot like Journey with archery in it. So I thought that looked pretty cool. But some of the others then, like Spelunky 2 and Braid, well, those are just kind of... Well, Spelunky and Braid are kind of well-known indie games. They're very famous ones. So they're just kind of like, I suppose, sequels to those. I thought overall it was a pretty good event. There was some kind of boring-looking stuff in there too, but pretty decent. I thought they ended it on a bad note myself, like ending the thing with Godfall.
I think a lot of people are probably excited about that. I just think it depends. I think it depends on what kind of player you are.
I was reading the comments after what the end of it. Most people know we're actually giving out by Godfall. which I was actually surprised
No,
at because of.
I
All right.
found personally
Okay.
that this state of play was, for the most part, aimed at kids.
Right.
And most of the games in state of play were for kids. Like,
You
who
think
the
so?
fuck is Bug Snacks for?
Yeah, I mean, Bug
Bug
Snacks,
Snacks is not for an adult.
Temptum, and
should
Crash,
not-
but that's it. Everything else is not.
I think
That's-
Godfall is for 8 and 10-year-olds. I'm sure other people will play it,
I
but I think,
guarantee that has a 16s rating on it.
really, because I would
I would
think
say
if you're a 10-year-old kid, that's awesome.
I think Godfall
And
is.
absolutely what you go for.
I think Godfall is PlayStation trying to have their own version of Warframe.
Oh, maybe.
You know, like PS4
Yeah.
launched with Warframe, and it really did really help boost the PS4 in its launch, and it launched for free on PS4. Godfall to me just looks like some sort of medieval fantasy version of Warframe. But the bit that didn't sell it for me was the combat. Like, he's going on, it's like, oh, and you press square to do this, and you press then triangle to do that, right? And it was just constantly shown, like, as he's talking, it was the same clip over and over and over, and he says, and there's fluid combat. You said there's fluid combat, but what I saw was not fluid combat, so who am I to believe here? And it's like, and, you know,
Right.
this is still in development. It's like, yeah, but it's supposed to release with PS5. I don't know. I just think the game it doesn't look like he's selling it to be.
Right. I think a lot of people are going to pick it up with. I'm not going to. I'm not excited about it, but I think a lot of people will pick this up with the PS5.
I imagine so, because it's going to be the only thing to play, really.
No, there's got to be. They always have 2 or 3 options, right?
Hopefully.
Have
Yeah,
to.
Ridge
Come on.
Racer and FIFA.
Yeah. Okay, fine. We're all
Match
getting
3.
Godfall. I thought about the event. I was pretty underwhelmed by the event. I thought it was fine, like, you know, but I wasn't in any way afterwards hugely excited or anything. I actually thought the best presentation was Crash Bandicoot, which was the first thing they showed.
Yeah.
I actually
that is
thought
good.
he talked about that. Like, again, I'm not a huge. I appreciate Crash Bandicoot. I've played bits of them. I haven't followed the series. Like, I'm not a Crash Bandicoot fan. But I just thought that the way he talked about it, there was a lot of passion in that one. It felt like a fully finished, realized game that had a vision. The title is genius. The title is absolutely genius. Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time.
Yeah.
And it's about time. Like, that's genius. I think as well, because, like, it's weird that and Ratchet and Clank. Actually, I think Ratchet and Clank is going to release with the PS5. I think that's going to be one of the options. But they're both kind of about, like, dimensions and shit, and they're both kind of that kind of cartoony style. And I have a feeling Spider-Man Into the Multiverse inspired a lot of studios to kind of, you know, because that came out a few years ago when these things were probably starting to develop. Yeah, I just have a feeling that possibly influenced some people in terms of, oh, this is actually an interesting idea to explore in terms of stories and.
Well, I think I don't know about the Crash one, but I think for Ratchet and Clank, it was very much the SSD inspired the whole multiple worlds, like being able to hop in between the one and the other. It's like, how can you demonstrate to your audience that the SSD is better than the like the PS4's hard drive past just traditional loading screens?
Yeah.
And I suppose what they figured was that, well, we can render an entire different map and world instantly. And okay, let's make a game about that.
Which is cool. It's a cool idea.
It is cool. It is cool.
It is a cool idea. So yeah, I thought Crash Bandicoot, and then when they talked about, like, there's different modes that you can unlock, and so you can replay levels, and they'll have a totally different style and everything. I was like, cool. That looks like something that if someone's gonna play it, and they could replay it over and over again, and there's plenty to get out of it. So it felt like a very fully realized game. So that Aeon Must Die for how stylistic it looked, and the Pathless were the 3 that I thought looked the most interesting or the most exciting. And then I would have liked to have seen more of Hitman 3.
Yeah.
I wish they did show a little bit more about it or talk about it a bit more, give it a bit more of a attention. But lads, what the fuck is Bug Snacks like? That was fucking cringy and embarrassing to watch. Who is that for?
That's
Jesus.
for
that's
the
definitely for
the Viva
the childers.
Pinata fans.
No, because
Yeah.
I've seen.
Remember Viva Pinata?
No, I don't.
Fucking
I
class,
remember
man.
there's plenty of games that are aimed at kids, like even the Lego games, but they're like anyone could play them too. Bug Snacks looks like something you throw in for 3-year-olds who shouldn't play video games.
Don't
Like you
knock
should
it
be at
till you
least
try it.
7. I
Bet you
know. I
Bug
know. I
Snacks
don't
is going
know.
to be game of the year.
Tell me
What?
Mez, man. Tell me get Mez.
I can't tell if you're serious. Anyway,
Have
those
you
are.
did you not see the
No,
graphics?
I'm a bit worried about the news is coming out about Aeon Must Die. I don't really want to speculate too much because we don't really know what's going on. But like the game looks phenomenal, but supposedly that trailer was outsourced, so that's not necessarily the game.
Oh, see, I don't know. Like I'm only going off what I saw, I suppose.
Yeah.
I definitely like on that alone, I wouldn't be buying it. I would need to see
Sure.
more,
Okay. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Is there anything you would?
Like most stuff.
Is there anything in that entire list that you would actually get?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so. I think like it depends on like the Pathless, for example, was interesting, but it depends on. I don't think that's going to be like a full price style game. So
I
it,
hope
it
it's
really
not.
depends on it depends on what it is or what how it comes out.
Yeah.
If any of those came with the PS5, like I'm going to be getting the PS5 anyway, then I might. Do you know what I mean? Like it depends on what the options are. Like if it between say, let's say it's Godfall or Crash Bandicoot, for example. I'd pick up Crash Bandicoot then. It's not a game I would normally pick up, but I was like, it looked like it was a bit of fun, and if I have to pick one of them, I'd pick that one.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any of them that I would pay the full price for just the game on its own. I wasn't that excited.
Well, hopefully
I
they
think they
do
did.
launch as a PS Plus because like when the PS4 launched, there was 2 free PS Plus games. It was Resogun and I think Blacklight Retribution.
Like I think the
Oh, yeah.
Pathless would be a great one. To
That
get.
would
Not,
be incredible.
not that I'm saying it shouldn't get money. Like
Oh no, yeah,
I'm not saying that, but that would be a really good one. I think you want something kind of artistic and stylistic, and then you want something that really shows off the
Yeah.
graphics of the machine.
Well, that's the only thing as well is that I was looking at it kind of going, it's because some of the games were PS4, some were PS5, some were, I think maybe both. I'm not sure. But the Pathless was PS5 title, and that's the bit that kind of confused me. Is like, why is this a PS5 game?
Yeah, I
There's
thought that was weird
nothing
too.
about that looked like that it couldn't run on PS4. So why isn't it cross-gen?
So is it going to be something that comes with the PS5 on launch?
Hopefully.
That
That would be
with
great.
Like if it's been made specifically for the PS5, and it's something that like you can tell by it as well. It is actually suitable for pretty much all ages.
Yeah.
You know, like there's nothing about it that's 16s or 18s or anything like that. I don't think. Maybe there is. Who knows? And then the next topic I wanted to discuss. The very next day, Rocksteady, who've been very, very quiet. And I was very surprised. I even expected to see them at either Gamescom or at the PS5 reveal. I expected to see them somewhere. And I was like, why are we not hearing from Rocksteady? They've been making something. Lots of people have been talking about it secretly. You know, it's either a Superman game or it's a Suicide Squad game or it's a Justice League game. We know it's a DC property. We've seen their advertisements. I applied for a job with them. We know that Rocksteady are making something. And then they tweeted the very next day. And I remember going down, I didn't even know it was Rocksteady's. I didn't even read Rocksteady. I didn't even read what was. I just saw the image of Superman and I went, what? What's that? And it stopped. Okay. So what do people think about, and actually I don't know about you guys. That image alone had me way more excited than the entire state of play. And it's just a picture. And the only reason is, well, I'm a DC fan, but also there was a lot you could discuss or read into that without knowing anything yet. Speculate about it now, but come August 22nd when they actually announce it, we could all be like, fuck, what are you doing? Or we could go,
yeah,
wow,
it's gonna
great.
be like a pure online multiplayer where you gotta pay to win.
You just have to hop in. It's like Anthem, where each of you take on a member of the Suicide Squad member, and you are all just happen to go on raids and try and beat Superman.
Boy, I hope not. Yeah, it's actually, like Friday the 13th. It's someone plays as Superman and then 5 other people play as the Suicide Squad.
I mean, if it wasn't, actually, I think if it wasn't €60, and you're playing as a bunch of people hiding from an evil Superman, that would actually be class.
It's like Alien Isolation AI
yeah,
kind of style.
Yeah,
No.
because it's like
No,
No, Eric,
Superman.
it wouldn't be
it
good.
would not from Rocksteady.
No, I didn't mean from Rocksteady. I just meant the concept.
As a game, yeah, sure.
Yeah. As a concept, like, because Superman can be quite a scary character, so maybe you just no from Rocksteady. Both of those ideas would be shit. If they did like a looter shooter or
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Well, so what? First of all, what do we think of the idea, or what we've seen so far?
Is that definitely Superman?
Yes.
Who else
Definite.
could it be though?
So many people wear capes. In the fucking
I know,
thing.
but like I think
I know, like some said
purposely
maybe it's
put
Bizarro, but
I think
just-
they purposely put in that kind of
the
little
curl thing.
curl on
Right,
his
yeah.
fringe just to show that is Superman.
I-
Because I know, like, I mean, how many people have capes, but it's very clearly Superman, I think.
yeah, no, I think it is. And as well, like, yeah, someone said maybe it's Bizarro. I just don't think you would put Bizarro on the front of your. Like, that's not exciting at all if it's Bizarro.
So I'd imagine then, like, I don't know, Amanda Waller is probably like really, I don't know, nervous of Superman, so she sets up Suicide Squad to try to take him down. Is kind of the only thing I can get that would somewhat make sense.
I've heard rumors that, like, just sort of showing Superman, it might not be just Superman.
That would make sense.
Oh, it's taking on the entire Justice League.
The Justice League are, like, going to be the bosses in this game, possibly.
I just
Fucking
yeah, it
trying to
feels a
fight
bit weird.
Batman.
I don't know.
When I saw the poster, yeah, I didn't see Rocksteady initially. I just saw the silhouette of Superman and the Suicide Squad kind of crosshairs on his head. I thought it was for the film. I thought it was James Gunn's film, which had me
Oh,
super excited. Like, I was like, that's really fucking, because I did think for a second it was Henry Cavill until I kind of looked a bit closer, and it's obviously not him. And
yeah.
I was like, actually, that kind of looks like a game character. And then as my eye went down, I saw Rocksteady and realized, oh, actually, it's a game. I think I was a little bit more excited with the idea of it being the film.
All right, yeah.
I don't know, like, as a game, I don't know if I want to play as the Suicide Squad. There's not a single member of the Suicide Squad that I would be like, yeah, I want to play as that character.
I would pretty much agree with that. I think I'd be more excited if it was a Superman game that they announced, because I'd be like, how are you going to do this?
Yeah.
And
Which is probably why you're not playing.
has to be the no. I understand. Like, I understand not doing Superman, because, like, you could come up with maybe one story reason to keep him confined, but you could not repeat that over a franchise. Yeah, like, how the fuck do you make a game where, like, their whole mantra is, like, if we're gonna make, like, the whole Batman thing was, we're gonna make you feel like Batman in our gameplay. There's no way they could do that with Superman. Like, it's just, I don't know, the technology's not there. Whereas fighting him as a boss, you know, that could be different. I'm not so excited that it is Suicide Squad per se, because you don't know, like, okay, so who's going to be our central character here? But what I am excited about is, so they've announced that it's Suicide Squad and they've shown Superman on the cover. I think Warner Brothers and DC have given them the rights to use any character they want from the entire DC roster. So what I'm more excited about is how many characters Rocksteady are going to get to explore from the DC canon.
Mm-hmm.
Actually.
And I think this is going to be set in the Arkham universe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, and I think it's going to be set after Arkham Knight. So I think Batman is out of the question. He's out of there. But through Harley, we might get flashbacks, or she might have post-trauma from both the Joker, and I wouldn't be surprised if deep down we're going to, or later on in it, we're going to get, like, cameos from Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Daly is playing Superman. I would not be surprised if we see Clancy Brown's Lex Luthor in this fucking game.
Or Susan Eisenberg for Wonder Woman.
These are the things I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think that's, like, we can all speculate, but I'm just trying to think, like, what is the gameplay though?
I know, yeah.
And I think that's going to make or break it for me.
Yeah.
If it's a Suicide Squad, you know, it's not just a singular member then. Well, maybe you are just one member, but is that, like, are you just Rick Flag? Um, or do you hop between them like the way you did, like when you were Batman, you could hop to Nightwing and do kind of
I hope
partner
it's that.
takedowns? You do hope I hope it's not that. I really hope it's a central character because
What I mean is,
if you play too much on the dynamic of like hopping between the squad, I just feel like there's going to be a disconnect. Because I like those moments were kind of cool, but I never relied on them that much when I was playing the Batman games.
okay, I see. I hope it's that. In what I mean by that is, like, once the fight is over, you still turned back into Batman, and the story was still true. I hope there
Yeah.
is a central character.
Yeah.
So, okay, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Frame it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, no,
Where
but your
you
squad
have
was, well, it was only 3 people, really, wasn't it? And
I
then,
know, yeah. So in any given mission, maybe you take 2 people with you or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't mean, yeah, I wouldn't like 7 people on screen at once that you could swap between.
yeah,
But if they, I hope it's not a co-op thing. That's what I hope it's not, which I have a feeling it's going to be.
like Anthem, or is that what you mean?
Or like Avengers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could go down that road. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know until we see more of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Rocksteady tackling more characters and more worlds, and maybe showing Superman is to show you that it's going to be set in Metropolis or something, or who knows. Like, I'm excited about that stuff. I'm worried about the gameplay.
It does seem a bit like, I know they've been working on this for a while, but it does just seem to me it's a bit like, why Suicide Squad? You know what I mean?
Maybe
Like, I do feel like there's definitely a desire here to make this brand liked, essentially, because the last film bombed.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not it's, out of everything to choose from, it wouldn't be the first thing I'd go to unless I had Warner Brothers telling me we have to.
It wouldn't be the first thing I'd go to either, but I also don't agree that the Suicide Squad are not popular. They're incredibly popular, even though that movie bombed. The Suicide Squad themselves, the comic books ended up everywhere. They ended up getting animated films. They ended up getting greenlit for another film. They're on merch everywhere. Harley Quinn, who was already popular, became even more popular and then got her own cartoon TV show. Deadshot showed up more and more and more things. Deathstroke is all over the place. Like, the people who have been on the Suicide Squad have become huge, even though that film bombed, which is weird in a way. People love these characters. So, but yes, like, what's the character draw? Like, why pick the Suicide Squad to do a? Maybe they were more interested in, let's play a game where you fight the Justice League. Who's going to fight them? We have to think about that. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know what or maybe Warner Brothers did say we want you to do Suicide Squad. But I feel like that would be a bit weird because, like, at this point, I think Rocksteady are a pretty trusted studio.
Yeah.
well,
maybe there was
Warner
something within those
Brothers has in the
characters.
past.
Yeah. Work.
Like, just maybe like Warner Brothers has in the past kind of been a bit like, no, you do what we say. Yeah, I mean, like, they have kind of made some decisions that haven't been the best quite recently. So they might be just like, James Gunn is making Suicide Squad. We need to build up as much hype for it so that the film does well. Rocksteady,
just adds to the
fans
selling of merchandise.
Yeah,
I think it's. By the way, I think that film is going to do well.
James Gunn. Yeah,
I think James Gunn is going to have a vision. I think you can even tell by the style of the. Have you seen his logo? Like, it looks like something from, like, I don't know. I just think it's going to be real stylistic.
Yeah, Joe, nearly, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I guess, like, when I'm just trying to think, like, hopefully it is a central character. I imagine it would be Rick Flag. I don't know, but that's the one I'd imagine it would be.
I don't think it will be.
Because I just think, like, he's the only one, as far as I know, that's not a villain, so to speak. Compared to the others. So I'm just trying to think about being a character that's forced to have to try and work with villains.
Yeah, from a story perspective, it would make the most sense.
And then kind of doing missions along with these what would be unlikable characters and then learning about them and then forming some sort of friendship or bond in order to complete your mission. But at first, like I think they could do something really interesting there. But I just don't know how that would work playing as one of the villains. It'll be quirky,
Well,
but I don't know.
you might get to do some nasty shit, and you'll be killing people this time around. I suppose there'll be no holding back from doing silent assassinations or horrible murderous beating people's heads in as Harley, or I don't know. I wonder who's going to be on the roster as well. Like I wonder like which characters they're going to pull from to actually make up the Suicide Squad. Like I think there's 3 characters that I think are guaranteed. Personally, I think Harley is a definite.
Yeah.
I think there's no way they're making this game and Harley's not in it, which means it's probably Tara Strong. Like it's probably, their Arkham version of Harley. Now that she has no Joker, now that she has no Batman, there's something, maybe they're pulling her away from Gotham. I think Deadshot is definitely going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Captain Boomerang is the 3rd definite.
Oh, not Rick Flag?
Yeah.
No, I don't think Rick Flag is definite at all.
Okay.
I would actually
I think
it
a bit more.
I think it makes sense to do Rick Flag.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if he's not in it.
Okay.
I don't think he's definite at all. And I could see Captain Boomerang being very fun gameplay wise, because like if you think about how fun the Leviathan axe was.
Yep.
I kind of think they might decide just to make it feel kind of like the Arkham games again. They might get Batman, break down all of Batman's skills, and then see which members of the Suicide Squad best match that. So Captain Boomerang obviously has like the boomerangs, which are like the batarangs. And then they'll get
give them like
Tiger.
Aspects of Batman's character.
Yeah, so then they might get Bronze Tiger for the martial arts, Harley Quinn for the brutality.
They also might do Deathstroke. At the end of Arkham Origins, Amanda Waller comes to Deathstroke in prison and says, "I'm thinking of putting a squad together." So this was already teased. Suicide Squad was already teased as something. I think people had thought at the time though that it would be you would fight them later as opposed to play as them. But Deathstroke could be the squad leader.
Maybe.
And he could play very like Batman.
Yeah.
The whole countering thing and stuff. Look, who knows? We'll find out. But
it's an incredible poster.
It's
really
an
good
awesome
poster.
fucking poster. But it
You
does
could definitely hang that up
bring
on your wall.
a lot of questions. Yeah.
You can put that right on the
what
fridge.
You know what I really
Right
like
there.
about the poster?
Yeah.
I like that none of the Suicide Squad members are on it.
Yeah, I mean, putting
That's-
Superman front and center is like
It's so
What?
bold.
what?
In a game where he's not who you're playing as.
Yeah.
That is bold.
It
And put
also
the crosshair right in
stylistically
his
kind of
head.
reminds me of the Arkham City artwork.
Yeah.
You know, when they were hyping that one up.
Yeah. Which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see more on this.
Yeah, I am as well. Like, I think it could go either way. It could be like, oh god, no, or it could be like, wow, they've done something.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. And I think on August 22nd, the only thing we'll get is an official announcement teaser where we see the lineup of who's on the squad. I don't think we'll actually see the gameplay yet.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
I think we
But
will.
if we do, I'll be super stoked or
we will.
super disappointed.
Just because of how long have they been working on it?
Yeah, I know. I just think it typically, though, with the Arkham games, typically they always did an announcement teaser before they ever did a gameplay one.
Yeah, but they tend to they were banging them out though. That's not like this. Like this is they've been and to just tease that me indicates this thing is fucking done essentially.
You think so?
I think this is nearly done. They're ready to like.
Would you say this is coming next year?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I
Comes
see
with
it
the
as
launch
one of those
PS5.
like it's kind of like what they did with Fallout. Was it Fallout 4 that time? Where they kind of announced it and then they're saying, and it's coming out this year, and everyone was like, what? Yeah, it's pretty clear, that they were able to make that so quickly. But they've been working on this for so long. I think this is they're pretty much all done and ready. This isn't just we're thinking about making this project. It's kind of a teaser.
Well, that
I
would
could
give
be
me
totally wrong, but I
Yeah.
just get that feeling.
No, I do think that we'll see it next year. I just don't know
Yeah.
whether it'll be early next year or late next year. But I do
I
think
think it could be
at this
late
point-
next year.
Yeah. But anyway, those are our takes on PlayStation's State of Play 2020, and also Rocksteady's tease, the image. We'll be talking more about that, I'd say, after August 22nd when we know more about the Suicide Squad game and can talk about it in greater detail. But if you have any speculations or any thoughts on whether Superman's a bad guy in this game, whether we're fighting the Justice League in this game, where it's going to be set, who the squad members are going to be, and also which of the State of Play games you found particularly exciting if you're going to be picking any of them up, or what you thought of the event as a whole, please do get in touch. You can message us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Brothers Take, or you can also comment on YouTube in the comment section of this video, and we will engage back. So it would be lovely to get a discussion going on these topics. But until then, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.